All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. If she be down the ride, oh, I bet that.
I have had mail that has not been delivered for now some months. We have done our very best to work with the Postal Service. I don't blame these postal workers. It's important to separate them from the people who are in the administrative portion of this service. These workers do an outstanding job. I'm here today because I don't want to see someone arbitrarily and capriciously decide that their jobs should be eliminated. And there's a possibility now that thousands of jobs of Postal Service employees, not talking about administrators now, employees, the people who work in the post office, the people who carry the mail, there's a possibility that many of them may lose their jobs. And this should not happen without congressional oversight. You cannot say that there is waste and fraud without pointing to the waste and the fraud. You can't just decide, pardon me for being colloquial, but you can't decide willy-nilly that you're going to remove masses of people, which is a form of collective punishment. You can't just do that. You have to have some sort of process so that you can give people what I consider a due process before they are terminated, before they lose their jobs. And these people have homes that they have to pay for. Many of them have children that need educations that they are caring for. And you have to remember that when they make these dollars from the government, they put these dollars in motion in communities, and they help pay for fire stations, they help to pay for police stations, police officers, because their dollars spread through the community. So we want to protect jobs. We don't condone any waste, fraud, and abuse, but we want to make sure that it is waste, fraud, and abuse that is finally the thing that Mr. DeJoy and others will focus on.
If the United States Postal Service were ever to experience privatization, you could expect to see all that bloated workforce slashed. For example, a company of this size, if there was a takeover, if it was privatized, you could expect to see somewhere between 1 and 200,000 jobs cut as it slims down to meet a private company model. And equally important, privatization would likely mean the end of the unions. Not to mention that the unions would likely be broken up in such a move, and it would end their collective bargaining power.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is J.H. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. Listen, learning how to use these different cameras. I got one here and then I got that one there. So I'm trying a bunch of different cameras. You don't care. Anyway, people don't like us. I don't know why. I'm feeling like people just don't got no love for the post office. But here's the thing. You probably click because you saw the little 200,000, maybe 1 to 200,000 people being let go. And this video that I'm about to show you, that video was actually posted somewhere maybe 2-3 days ago. And I just took a little eclipse so you could hear it. But then March 17th, Postmaster General DeJoys put a letter out to Congress, and I will kind of highlight what he said, and then we'll watch the clip of the video, and then y'all give me your opinion. I know you don't really want to talk about a lot of this, but it kind of all smushes together. It smushes together. It's weird. It's a strange cycle. Everybody's going through it right now. Let's talk. The letter from Postmaster General DeJoys to Congress on March 17th. It outlines a few critical issues and initiatives related to the United States Postal Service. And the first one is obviously the financial challenges and reforms. The retirement plans. It has a bunch of mismanaged retirement plans from way back in the day. Has nothing to do with majority of us. That was a president thing. He screwed it up. So now they're broke, pretty much. The workers' comp costs, excessive charges going up to $400 million annually. So that's what they want to try to save, $400 million, because they pay more than that in workers' comp. Unfunded congressional mandates. Again, I'm just kind of getting the highlights off of this long letter that he wrote. Some of you guys have saw it. The USPS is required to perform costly activities without funding that cost between $6 billion to $11 billion annually. Ugh. Sheesh. The regulatory requirements is criticized for outdated pricing models, bureaucrat, blah, blah, blah. Operational efficiency and cost savings. Retail center lease renewals. Retail, that means right where the people work. You know, some of the places, some of the buildings that we own, some of them we don't own. The USPS faces challenges in renewing leases for 31,000 retail centers due to ownership consolidation, urban development, and rising rental rates. What they plan to do is leverage postal infrastructure, aims to provide services to other federal agencies using its infrastructure, which could reduce the government-wide costs and enhance profitability. Eesh. Counterfeit postage is combating 1 billion problem in counterfeit postage, and it seeks solutions to address the issue. Then he gets into this regulatory obstacle where he's complaining that the regulatory committee is blocking him. He says the letter emphasizes the need for legislative action to address issues such as retirement plan mismanagement, workers' comp costs, and unfunded mandates. The USPS lacks the authority to change laws or employee benefits accounting, which heavily burdens its balance sheet and operational costs. He wants to take that away. That's weird. He wants transparency and accountability. I think we need that. Is committed to high levels of transparency as evidence within his interactions with Congress, the Office of Inspector General, and the PRC, and the General Accountability Office. The Postmaster highlights the extensive oversight and reporting requirements the USPS must comply with. He doesn't like to answer to people. I know this. Then he mentions that Doge thing, that Doge thing. Y'all are just Doge, Gerard. You. USPS engaged in Doge GSA team with assist to specific initiatives aimed at providing operations, cost reductions, and growing revenue. The letter assures Congress that the engagement is directed and not expansive, with a focus on discrete initiatives that align with the Delivering for America plan. Yeah, okay. He has a initiative to basically continue on that Delivering for America plan. He definitely wants to transform infrastructure as a whole, either combining different agencies to use our facilities, or I have no idea. I'm just kind of highlighting what he said in this. And definitely pricing adjustments. I agree with that because it's kind of how we get paid. They want to adjust the prices because of costs of stamps and our products, because we operate like a third world country prices. They say we're below Canada, we're below Mexico. It's weird. So for those that are trying to analyze that, that's kind of what he's saying. It's weird that he put this out, but I don't want to make any assumptions, but I think he's just trying to emphasize the fact that Doge is coming in to try to help clean this place up. Now, this next clip that you hear, the gentleman is talking about what happens if Doge comes in. And I mean, I don't do the fear mongering. This is another gentleman. I don't agree with his politics. Brings a lot of politics into it, but he's extremely knowledgeable, and he kind of breaks it down and says what possibly could happen as far as reducing the workforce as a whole. You guys listen to it. You tell me what you think. This was more of addressing this little letter that was written, and people try to analyze. Oh, I can't understand. It's a lot of mumbo jumbo. It is, but I tried to break it down for the best, in layman terms. Hopefully that helped a little bit. Watch this guy's clip and tell me what you think. Again, I'm not really a fan, but he is a smart guy. All right, check it out.
So cutting 10,000 workers, especially higher earners, might save the USPS hundreds of millions of dollars in annual wages and benefits and pension obligations. So that's a good start. But if Doge is able to get broader reforms within the company, that would be a big deal, and it would go a long way in righting this sinking ship. See, by working with Doge, this will set up, I believe, for more cuts down the road and to just overhaul the business as a whole. The USPS right now is a bloated, wasteful, absurdly out-of-date company that operates like it's 1999 instead of the year 2025. I mean, demand for regular mail just since 2006 has dropped by over 45%, and that's never going to return back to its heyday. And so knowing this, when you look at the workforce of over 630,000 people, that number is also likely far too many people working for the USPS. What they need is a leaner workforce as a whole. And so forcing the USPS to modernize, make them a faster, more efficient company, think automation, fewer redundant roles, and perhaps take a page from Amazon and go for AI-driven logistics. And the USPS should probably shift their focus anyway towards more profitable services like package delivery, which has been booming thanks to e-commerce. The United States Postal Service needs to be reformed. It needs to operate more like its private sector counterparts, Amazon, UPS, and FedEx. However, we do know that there's going to be a lot of fierce opposition to anything that they try to do to fix this antiquated operation. The Universal Service Obligation, or the USO, mandates delivery to every U.S. address. There's 163 million of them. 6 days a week, no matter how remote or unprofitable. A 2020 Brennan Center report estimated that 20% of rural households would lose reliable mail service under privatization. So that's the public reason that they will use to fight this. But more importantly, and perhaps the real reason why they don't want this to change, is the USPS employs 635,000 people, and 85% of them are unions. And these unions are Democrat strongholds. They are allies with the Democratic Party, and they operate a beautiful money laundering scheme that pumps millions and millions of dollars right back into the Democrat coffers each and every election cycle, helping to prop up the party. For example, the USPS unions donated over $10 million into campaigns in 2020 alone. So if the United States Postal Service were ever to experience privatization, you could expect to see all that bloated workforce slashed. For example, a company of this size, if there was a takeover, if it was privatized, you could expect to see somewhere between 1 and 200,000 jobs cut as it slims down to meet a private company model. And equally important, privatization would likely mean the end of the unions. Not to mention that the unions would likely be broken up in such a move, and it would end their collective bargaining power.